What's going on, guys? Today in this video I have 5 mistakes that you're gonna want to avoid while you're creating music videos. Now me, I shoot music videos obviously. I've been shooting music videos for years now. I wouldn't say I'm a super professional, but I wouldn't say I'm a beginner either. So I have 5 mistakes that I see a lot of beginners make when they're starting out creating music videos. So avoid these, don't do them, just don't do them. It's gonna make your life a lot better. It's gonna make your work a lot better. Let's get into it. So the first mistake that you want to avoid is exporting your video at any other frame rate than 24 frames per second. Now me, I shoot a lot of my videos at 24 frames per second, and then the portions of the video that I plan on slowing down in post, I shoot at 60 frames per second or higher. But that's just me. You have the option to shoot your entire video at 60 frames per second if that's what you want to do. A lot of people don't know what specific parts of the video they want to slow down, so they'll film the majority or all of it at 60 frames per second or higher. But the thing that you want to do always, regardless of what frame rate you shoot your video at, you always want to export it at 24 frames per second. This is going to keep the realism in the video. This is going to keep the cinema aspect of it. It's just going to look a lot better. So don't export your videos at any other frame rate other than 24 frames per second. The second mistake that you're going to want to avoid is undershooting. Now, a few months ago, I was doing a lot of video critiques on the channel for music videos that other directors and, upcoming creators were creating. And a common theme and a common pattern amongst the majority of them was people were just not shooting enough. Typically what a beginner will do is they'll go to each location that they plan on shooting at, and they'll just only film one performance shot at each one of those locations. These are like 4 or 5 minute songs, so it's like you're watching an entire music video for 4 minutes that's only switching from 3 different shots, and then it just gets boring like 15 seconds into it. A simple rule of thumb for me is, regardless of what I already have planned to be filming at these spots, I'll try to film 3 angles all the time. 3 angles that I typically film are just wide, medium, and super close. Like I said, regardless if I plan on using these, I'll have them there for when I'm in the editing process. If I need to use them, they're there. You might not even use them. I also film B-roll of everything. I film B-roll of birds flying through the sky. I film B-roll of the artist's shoes dragging across the ground. I film B-roll of the artist's watch, the car, the trees, whatever. Just completely film everything that's going on at the location. Regardless if you plan on using it or not, you'll have it for the editing. It'll just make the editing process a lot better. So always overshoot, man. Overshoot regardless of what you plan. Just shoot everything. The third mistake that you're gonna wanna avoid is trying to stabilize things that aren't able to be stabilized. Now what I mean by this is, typically in a lot of the programs that we use to edit, they have a third-party plugin or a plugin that already comes into the program that is there and used for you to stabilize footage. So what a beginner will typically do is they'll use this on any footage. So they'll film a super rocky shot on purpose, and then they'll add this, and then it'll just give it a really ugly, warpy jello look. If you plan on using post stabilization, make sure you plan this while you're shooting. That way you'll know that you need to film this as still and as close to smooth as possible. This is gonna help this be able to actually smooth out your footage. Now, Warp Stabilizer is an amazing plugin for Adobe Premiere Pro, but if you don't plan to add stabilization while you're shooting the shot, more than likely it's gonna be way too rocky for Warp Stabilization to fix it. I've used Warp on a lot of things, even some shots where I use my Ronin and the Ronin glitches out, Warp will get it right. So basically what I'm saying is, if you plan on using post stabilization on your shot, just make sure you're planning on using it while you're actually shooting the shot. This way it'll help you get the shot to as smooth as possible. Then the Warp will be able to clean up where you messed up at. Now before we get into this 4th mistake, I want to give a really quick shout out to the sponsors of this episode, the lovely people over at Squarespace. You guys have no idea what Squarespace is. It's the all-in-one platform for pretty much everything relative to creating a website. They have domains, they have templates. It's just a really easy and fun place to be if you're trying to do anything relative to creating a website. Aside from the templates they have award-winning 24/7 customer support. So if you ever find yourself in a jam where you don't know what's going on with your website, you can just hit them up right in the chat. They'll hit you right back. So if you are interested in bettering your online presence with the website, make sure you head over to squarespace.com right now to start your free trial. You can also head over to squarespace.com/YCImageing for 10% off your first purchase. Links to everything will be down in the description. Let's get back into these mistakes though. The 4th mistake that a lot of beginners make is they'll try to use the cheesy in-program transitions on their music video. Stick to what's classic. Don't try to do anything that is semi-cheesy. Classic is what works most of the time. Typically, a simple cut to cut on a clip looks a lot better than using a cheesy transition. And this is not to say transitions are bad. I'll link up above a few tutorials that I've created for transitions in Adobe Premiere Pro that I've created, just fiddling around with a lot of the different things that they offer already. But a lot of the stuff that they offer is cheesy as well. So a simple rule of thumb is, if you don't necessarily know if what you're doing looks good or not, the best thing is to just take it out. Most of the time, a simple cut to cut on the clip is gonna look a lot better than a cheesy effect. Keep it simple, man. Keep it classy. You don't have to overdo it all the time. The 5th and final mistake that you guys wanna avoid is overdoing your grade. I see this all the time, man. I see people who will purchase some LUTs, or they'll use some of the LUTs that are already offered in program, and they'll put them on their footage and they'll dial them all the way up to 100%. It'll make the footage super dark. It'll make this footage super contrasted. Don't overdo your grade, man. You can put it on, just put it on light. Don't overdo it. So a lot of people actually don't know this, but if you go into the Lumetri color panel on Adobe Premiere Pro, you scroll down to the creative tab and you add on your LUT, you actually have an option to dial in the intensity of the LUT. So when you go to add your LUTs on, you actually don't have to add them at 100%. You can just dial down the intensity, just get it to where it looks a little bit stylistic, but the skin tones and everything still look really good. Unless a trippy effect is what you're going for, but a lot of the times people just overdo their grades and it's just unnecessary. So that's it, man. Those are my top 5 mistakes to avoid when you're just starting out creating music videos, or just visuals in general. You can really apply these things to any other field of film that you guys may be in. What I want you guys to do is head down in the comments and let me know if you have another tip to help beginners create better visuals. Make sure you guys drop this video a like. Also subscribe to the channel if you're new here. Peace out.